Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo.
welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from me. It's just gonna solidify everything within those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill Thor anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKT, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, is he gonna be able to find these shots true?
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil immediately into back that finds skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3. So back and forth.
What is up, my friends? Welcome to Friday Night Overwatch here for CGO. My name is Jeff, and well, it's playoff time here around CGL. It's been a lot of fun. We've got a fantastic match lined up for you tonight. Before we get to talk about that, let's talk to my lovely co-host here tonight. I've got 2 Tryhard Raid, Chef Billy on the desk with me. How's everybody feeling this week?
I am so done with this week. It's not funny. So, I mean, this is a great way to get the weekend started. Turn all of our frowns upside down and get some smiles going on with some playoff action going on. I'm so glad to be here. It's so glad it's Friday.
No doubt, no doubt. Ray, how you been?
Yeah, it's I have a very similar sentiment to Billy. It's been one of those weeks, you know. So coming into the weekend, getting some Overwatch, just like that daily injection into my veins that I just need to get the weekend going is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Sounds good. Yep. And, well, let's get our little eye in the sea here. We're going to check in with a friend of ours and see. Yeah, well, it looks like Fred's doing well also. Look at that. We got a little can there in the seas of Survasa. All right. You got to check in with Fred here on Friday afternoon. There we go. Thank you, Fred. You know, I found out recording this, Fred's actually quite loud. I could include audio, but Fred actually roars if you go into the sea of Survasa. So, you know, there you go. There you have it. All right. Thank you for that inside look there. We'll check back in with Fred here throughout our broadcast. But furthermore, before we get into talking about our fantastic matchup a little later on tonight, we've got a game for you. We got to get everybody warmed up. You know, we were talking about turning those frowns upside down. What better way to do that with a game? We're gonna kick things off with a little Name That Sound here on Friday Night Overwatch. Now I've only got 2 players here, so you know, we got a lot of questions for you. We'll see how it goes. How are we feeling? How are we feeling about tonight's Name That Sound, y'all?
I don't even have a pen.
Oh, well, you were woefully underprepared.
I'm gonna lose.
It's actually entirely my fault. I was too busy making a Fred cam, and I forgot to tell you to get a pen ready. So, yeah, that's entirely on me.
Fired.
Sorry, buddy.
Absolutely fired.
Whoa.
Fired.
Magical pin from
Yes,
the
I love how the
sky.
pin just fell out of the sky. That was amazing. Did you just pluck that from the tree? What are they growing over there in Hanamura?
I mean, it's Hanaoka, first of all.
Oh, it
Get
is
your places
Hanaoka.
right.
Oh, fair enough. All right.
And the moon is rising outside, so, you know, otherwise it's known as my husband giving me the pin from outside the camera.
Don't break the fourth wall. It was a
I gotta
fantastic
break the
illusion.
fourth wall.
It was a fantastic illusion. All right, keep rolling with it. I like
Okay.
how the broadcast background matches my personal background. Look at that. It's like we planned this. It's amazing. All right, let's get into it. We're gonna kick things off. We got a lot of questions this week, but they're nice, quick sound bites this week. Nothing too long. So yeah, let's not waste any time. Let's figure this out. Let's get producer. Are we ready to start? Name That Sound. Yes, we are ready. All right, prepare yourselves for sound number 1.
All right, I'm ready.
As always, the length of the sound is a pretty good indicator. Can be a good.
One more time.
I'm gonna feel so embarrassed if I get this wrong because I feel so confident.
And of course, there is a theme this week, and you will get a bonus point. You can guess the theme at any time when you give your answer. That is. All right, Billy. Locking one in. Anything coming to mind?
I'm just gonna take a guess.
Fair enough. All right.
I have no idea.
Let's go. What do we got? What do we got for round number one? What are we thinking? Flip them over. That actually works. Yeah, I like that. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. Ray gets the point on that one. That is, in fact, Kitsune Rush.
Yeah. I don't play character enough.
All right. Let's get it. Sound number two.
One more time, Hippie, just so I could confirm I heard what I thought I heard. Okay, yeah.
I love the way that one trails off. There's also a tiny hint at the very, very end. Such cool sound design in this game. It's ridiculous. I tell you, it's so ridiculous. All right, we ready? We locked in?
Yep.
Y'all look unsure. Flip them over. Let's see what you got. Sound barrier from Ray. Billy. Terror Surge out of Billy. No, Ray gets another point. Ray's been playing his supports lately. That is, in fact, sound barrier. Oh no, producer throwing some punches back here. All right, let's get into sound number three. Keep it going.
All right, I got it again.
Yep.
All right, both furiously riding. All right, what do we got? Flip them over. Only took one time. Both of you nailed it. That is, in fact, Blizzard. Point each. Look at Ray's on a roll. 3 for 3 so far. All right, all right. Don't worry. They get a little. Don't. You can wipe that smile off your face. They get harder.
I just naturally smile, okay?
I know. I'm just teasing.
I know.
All right. Good start. Let's keep it going. We got plenty more to get through. Sound number 4.
Can I guess the theme?
Anytime you put in an answer, you can guess the theme along with it.
Okay.
Really searching up deep in the cherry blossoms for an answer.
I'm good to go.
One more time.
Pretty fast.
So I put my answer : what I think the theme is.
Sure, that's fine. All right, we locked in?
Yep.
Flip them over. What do we got? Theme guess and another guess. I got covered. Oh, you got both correct. That is a Death Blossom. The theme is, in fact, Ultimates. 2 points for Ray. Ray's running away with this. Have you been studying? Somebody's been studying.
I mean, okay, just breaking the fourth wall here. I mean, I grew up in the gold and plat lobbies. Anything goes in CGL when you're playing in gold and plat, just whatever works. So I'm used to getting bombarded with all different kinds of ults. It's not like Masters where you're expecting certain pulse bomb and stuff.
Fair enough. Yeah. Maybe if you play a lot of GM, you may not have heard of Death Blossom in recent memory. Oh, all right, let's keep it rolling. Sound number 5. Your theme is, in fact, Ultimates.
I don't think I could show my face to my past teams if I get this wrong.
One more time.
I love the look on y'all's faces. Go ahead and watch them think. You take. I gotta tell you, I never really know how hard these are gonna be. You know, when I'm recording them, I know what they are. So I never know how hard these are gonna be. All right, y'all look locked in. What do we got? Sound number 5. What's our guesses? Yes, that is absolutely Earthshatter. You betcha. You betcha. I mean, if we're gonna do ultimates, I have to throw Earthshatter. I mean, come on. Definitely the fastest. Definitely the fastest of the ones on the list. I think the fastest of the ultimates. Now that when I was doing the recording. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Oh man, Billy still can catch up. There's still the benefit of having a few more questions. There's definitely room to catch up here. All right, we're on sound number 6. Thoughts?
I'm good. I know it.
Let me know. Let me know. All right, I saw Billy write it down. All right, let's go. Flip him over. We're so confident. Let's go. Flip him over. What do we got? What do we got? That is Dragon Blade. Very good. Very good. Yes, points abound. Oh. Now there's only 4 questions left. I did have no faith. That one I thought would be harder, to be honest. All right. Sound number 7.
Ooh, this one I initially don't know. I'm gonna have to hear that one again. I think this is wrong, but we're going for it.
I'm anxious. I'm anxious to see what you got. I don't know. How hard are these out there. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. All right, let's flip them over. What do we think? What do we got? We have Captive Sun, Overclock. Neither of those is correct. That is, in fact, Coalescence.
Ah.
Yep, that is Coalescence. All right. Now we're starting to get in the back half. This is wrap up the harder ones, at least the ones I thought were harder. We'll see how it goes. Number 8.
You thought this one was hard?
You thought that was hard?
Depends.
Come on, just flip it.
Yep. Absolutely. It depends on if you'd gotten the theme by that point or not. To me, that one is very much about the voice line. The train horn, to me, does not stand out in game. That one is all about the voice line.
That's a blowing into a freaking reindeer horn or something. That's what I hear when I hear rally.
Yeah, see, to me, it's just that one very much hides behind the voice line. That's why I thought that one could be difficult. Let's keep it going. Sound number 9. I love the way that one ends.
Mm-hmm.
Billy's locked in. Ray.
Yep.
All right, turn him over. What do you got? Both are correct. That is, in fact, Tac Visor. Yes, sir. See, I got these backwards. See, now I thought that one with no guns in it could also be tricky. All right. Your final question for double points. I'd say it's impossible, but y'all got good. Y'all got good. Maybe I should have thrown in more tricky ones here on you. But for double points, at least Chef Billy might be able to catch up. Let's see. Sound number 10.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm impressed. I'm impressed you put that one on there.
Oh, Billy, you locked or you thinking still? That looks like a
I look
thinking
like
face.
dummy if I get this wrong after what I just said.
Right?
Go again.
I love the way that one ends.
Yeah. I'm telling you, sound design is just so crisp. It's so beautiful. Ray going for a 9 out of 10 on this final question. That has to be the highest percentage we've had on any game show here on Friday Night Overwatch, if you get this right. Give Billy a moment. All right, moment's up. Come on. What are we thinking? What are we thinking? First instinct. Trust your gut, my friend. Trust your gut.
One more time.
All right, one more time.
I can't spell.
That doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can just tell me if you really need to. All right, we're locked in. Flip them over. What do we got for our final answer? You were both correct. Absolutely. That is Ant Matrix. Very nice. Very nice. Ray, wow. 9 out of 10 tonight. Yeah, I got to tip my hat as well. All right. Well done. Well done, friends. Well done. All right. That was fun. That was good fun. That was good fun. Thank you. Thank you for, playing along with me and stuff and let me do my silly little game. I hope you all enjoyed it out there as well.
I don't think I would have gotten coalescence with another 3 guesses is the funny part.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
That one is very odd sounding. It did not sound
I did
like
I did not expect that to sound that way.
That one doesn't have much of a voice line on it either, too. So even that noise is pretty prominent while Moira is activating it. You know, it doesn't hide behind the voice line like some others, but still, it's so weird. It's hard to place. All right, well, that does it for us. Let's get to talk about our team next. We got a fantastic match lined up for you tonight. Like I said, we are knee-deep in playoffs. We're in the winners bracket finals here in our NA Masters division for tonight's matchup. We've got Galactica taking on Simp Nation, and this one kind of struck a chord with Billy and myself in particular because we're looking at Simp Nation and realizing, man, this team goes all the way back to MTT, 2-7, Billy.
I mean, that's when I was competing. So, I grew up in this environment, playing with some of these players, or watching scrims or competing in scrims against some of these players. Looks like Poobell might be Poob for Simp Nation. If that is the case, their DPS is absolutely gross and gave Danny DeVito all kinds of hell.
Oh my goodness, haven't heard the name Danny DeVito in a couple of years. I hope Burr that everybody from that team is doing well. Ray, what are your first instincts when you saw this matchup on our build tonight?
Look, I think this is going to be an interesting match. This is the winners finals for the NA Masters. It was a smaller division, so only 4 teams made playoffs. So round 2 already brings you to this point, but Simp Nation, man, they are undefeated this season. And when I even took more of a microscopic look at it, they've only dropped 3 maps this season. So they are on a freaking roll right now. They are just dominating. Galactica is coming off an upset win, technically over YE and Nera, who was 1 win better than them on the season. They ended up winning in a 3-2 banger. So now they get to come up against what is definitely the big dog of the NA Masters division.
Oh, speaking of, why don't we just go ahead and pull up that bracket and take a look at where we sit here in this NA Masters division. Up top, there it is. You can see Galactica with that 3-2 upset. They're in the middle. And Simp Nation with a 3-0. Well, what are our thoughts here? Is Simp Nation the favorites throughout this whole bracket?
I think it should be. I think Enenra is a very good team in and of their own right. But I think that all roads do lead through Simp Nation. If I'm being completely honest with you, only dropping 3 maps across the entire season, that is damn near unheard of. It's almost golden stage worthy. They have not dropped a game. I'm sorry, they've only dropped 1 game across the 8 weeks plus the midseason madness. So, this is fantastic work for them. We'll see how they actually line up against Galactica. Galactica does have options. I mean, they do have some firepower to them. So I think that, while this should be a pretty comprehensive result, I would not be surprised if Enenra or if Galactica does give Simp Nation a little room for pause.
What are your thoughts, Ray? Is Simp Nation the team to beat, and is Galactica the one to do it?
I feel like you have to put them as the team to beat until someone actually does it. Galactica did play Simp Nation in Week 8, which is the final game of the regular season. Simp Nation did win 3-1, so this is one of the teams. This is one of those 3 maps they dropped was to Galactica. So you have to keep that in mind as we progress. And Galactica's been getting better. I've been kind of taking a closer look at how this division has gone from midseason to now. Midseason, Simp Nation didn't even enter the midseason playoffs. They let other teams enter because a bunch of their players were busy and stuff like that. So what ended up happening was Enera played Galactica in the grand finals of the midseason, and Enera actually won that match. So Galactica gets their revenge in the playoffs, and they've taken a map off Simp Nation. So I feel like maybe there's a chance there.
Sounds like Galactica is certainly on the upswing, and I mean they were already starting off at a pretty good position. So if they're moving up from there, maybe they can actually threaten Simp Nation here tonight. Let's take a look at who Galactica is bringing to the battlefield. Start things off. Let's take a look at that starting 5 and get an idea of the players. We'll see. We were looking at the sheet, and there's right here in the middle. This really stood out to me, y'all. Redemption talked about the Wrecking Ball as a favorite hero. Could this shake things up? Is this the meta for Galactica to pull off this upset?
I mean, if we take last night, what we saw during Collegiate, Jeff, we know that ball can be viable as long as you have the right personnel to go in and get the cleanup. Ball can create all kinds of havoc. So I think with the patch changes, making him a lot more viable, using that grapple feature now and the recall where you get to basically retract yourself to your grapple point.
Yes.
We saw that happen a couple times with Ben Shark or Ben the Shark last night, especially. It was impressive because I had not seen that high level of play with the Wrecking Ball changes. We saw how he was able to evade a lot of incoming fire and really force a lot of cooldowns out of the enemy team. So if Redemption has any kind of a skill set just like that, this could be very interesting for them to go. But they have to have the right personnel to keep that ball viable.
And in case you missed the patch notes, what we're talking about here is some pretty fundamental changes to Wrecking Ball. You can relaunch your grapple within 1 second if your ball does not enter the fireball form. And that was one thing we saw used a lot in that collegiate match that Billy was referring to last night, was using these quick little double hooks to kind of maneuver around the map. And it was really cool, y'all. And then you can use the retractable grapple to kind of launch yourself. There's new tech with that as well. So there is a lot of new, I think, undiscovered country as far as Wrecking Ball is concerned. But you know what? Let's flip it on over, take a look at Simp Nation. Ray, why don't who's a standout for you here? Who should we keep an eye on?
I mean, just hearing you guys talk before and during this feels like Poob has to be one of the standouts, just how nasty this DPS line could possibly be. But I've also seen a lot out of Pixie on this tank, just watching the games on Twitch, like all of you are doing right now. Pixie has been quite the tank hero for Simp Nation, so I feel like those are the biggest 2 to be looking at on this roster. But I mean, there's a reason they've only dropped 3 maps all season. Just from player to player, they are fantastic.
Yeah, and I know Renera is another name that I remember from MTT7 from casting back in 2020. It's just a name that stands out. It's a name I remember. So I mean, clearly they were doing something good. If here we are 4 years later, and I'm like, yeah, I recognize that DPS player. Billy, any thoughts on Simp Nation on this roster we see before us? Anybody catches your eye? Anything you want to elaborate on the people we've already talked about?
I mean, Poob, obviously scary. Mr. White, if I remember correctly, was voted an all-star a couple seasons ago. I'd have to go back and check my notes, but I think MTT 10 or 11, they were put in as an all-star. At least we're on the voting form. Lizbeth is somebody that is on the sub bench, but I have seen them play throughout the years. God, I can't believe I'm saying that throughout the years, Jeff. We're getting freaking old. Also, Moosey, their manager, their head coach. I Moosey on Twitter. One of mainstay in the CGL for eons, just like us. And I mean, this is great to a coaching role. A really good mind, kind of up there like with what we see from Ocean, Jeff. A really analytical, high understanding of the game. Could tell you every cooldown, every counter to the cooldown, and everything, why they're doing it. That's the kind of coach that Moosey is. So I love it. I'm going to see. Fatty is the unknown to me, just like Ray. I kind of, I pick up, every once in a while when I'm not busy or, when we're going to get the cast going on. This, Jeff. I'll watch other competitions going on just to see how our casters are doing, or how the games are going, how the playoffs are going. And I mean, Fatty I've not seen yet, but Pixie I've seen a couple of times personally, just a glimpse here and there. Does like to command space and will not take no for an answer. That's what I think I like so much about Pixie, is has the Reinhardt mindset with the Sigma kind of holdback. They're very patient in their aggression.
I love that analogy, the kind of a Reinhardt mindset, like wrapped in a Sigma. I could very much see that. I've played 300 some odd hours of Ride myself. Ray, you know what we're talking about. You're not a log. Or you the one who was like, hey, if I didn't get Earthshatter right, my team would be mad. So, what we're talking about here, though. It's that, commanding space and careful approach, but also just kind of not afraid to throw your body out there is also part of one of your resources. I mean, your health pool is a big resource, and it's something that's more difficult to do with Sigma. But if you can master that, and of course the cooldown usage with it, will make problems for any opponent in the amount of map control you can get. Well, with that, let's bring up our Preds. I mean, I think we kind of got a sense of the way we're leaning here tonight. And as always, I play by the dice and I honor my dice. And guess what? My dice are even giving this one a Simp Nation, y'all. 3-1 to Ray. You're sharing this one here with me. Sorry, our Pred bars. We only got 3 here tonight. There's Kunwiches going on, so big props to Headrammer and all that going on. So, but it does leave us with only 3 death members. Anyway, with that said, Ray, 3-1, Billy a 3-0. Thoughts here, Ray? Why are you giving Galactica a map? What's the thoughts on that?
I mean, I like the improvement I've seen from them since the mid-season, and they did just recently play 2 weeks ago, and that was a 3-1 in favor of Simp Nation. So I definitely think Galactica has the ability to take a map off of them, but I don't see Simp Nation giving them more than a map.
Billy, you didn't even give him that much. I think Simp Nation's got this one clean.
I mean, when you could skip a mid-season tournament and just say, we're too busy, we'll go ahead and take our chances in the postseason when it really matters. I just think that there's too much firepower, and especially now that I know that there's N7 players on this team. The pedigree is there. The time in league is there. Even though they're coming back for the first time since MTT 7, it's just like riding a bike. And I mean, this season proves that when you understand Overwatch at a high level, and I think that this is this division has always been the most volatile for growth or decline. You'll either see a team, work their season in Masters tier or what used to be tier 4, and then they would explode into tier 5 and just start running. Or, they hit a wall or the meta doesn't suit them and you see them drop down to, the plat tier or the diamond tier. Or tier 3 as it used to be. So this is always what I called the moving house. This was moving day for the season for this tier. So I would not be surprised to see them move up to GM tier if they completely sweep this tournament out. They need to go to GM tier next year or next season. So that's why I think that they're just that little bit more in tune with what's going on. The one caveat I will put out there, though, is if this ball player if Redemption can play the Wrecking Ball according to the new rules, new rule, then I will grant them a map, but I will still stick by my 3-0.
Well, this is a pivotal game. Are we going to see Simp Nation rise up, perhaps propel themselves all the way up in the GM tiers? Are we seeing the meteoric rise of Simp Nation? Or are we going to watch an upset here tonight? Let's get our caster Preds on the board before we throw it over to him. We got Hunter Tate and Soavd him anxiously chomping at the bit at the in the booth, ready to get this one started. And look at that, Hunter's giving this one a 3-2, and I can respect it, especially with the improvement that you were talking about, Ray. The last match between these two, Galactica was able to take a map off. So if Adam is going to go ahead and stick with that 3-1 like my dice, like Ray, and well, like that result in week 8. So pretty solid bet all around, but as it stands, all 5 Preds favoring Simp Nation tonight. Let's toss it on over to Hunter Tate and so I've dead and get this match going. Let's see if those Preds hold out.
Well, I'm hoping that they do end up holding up, because I remember the last time that all 5 of us went for a prediction that didn't quite go so well, but I'm hoping this can be a little different here today. As they kind of have brought up, this is a match that really is like a definitive factor when we look at a team like Simp Nation, who has not dropped a single game this entire season, but dropped 1 map to these guys. The question is, can they not only replicate that, but then do it twice over?
Well, I mean, Hunter, maybe, but the question mark on the Simp side is, obviously you're going to remember the 1 loss you get, right? Like, you're not letting that slide. If you're coming in, going undefeated, making a statement like that, you're gonna train extra harder because they stabbed you, they made you bleed. You're gonna remember that. So I have to imagine Simp Nation is here for blood, quite honestly. But I don't know. I'm actually we were talking about this before. Galactica looks really good. Like, they came off, the previous win was a 5 mapper, but they punched up, and it's very likely they could do it again. So I really do want to see if they can carry that magic into this next week.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see if they're going to be able to, but as we kind of get into things, we do know our first map, which is, of course, the selection of Simp Nation that are going to be taking us over to Nepal, which last time these teams faced up each other, which was about 3 weeks ago, it was taken to Nepal, and Simp Nation ended up winning both of the first 2 points, took that thing in a 2-0 fashion. So have the confidence, going to take them there again, and hoping to replicate the same exact thing, because it's one thing if you look further down, way back in the past, and we won this map against them, we'll pick it. This was 3 weeks ago. I don't think there were enough of a big shift in the meta to warrant giving this any other thought, honestly.
No, I agree with you. Like, we did get some shifts. We saw some changes. Some characters got bigger, stronger, highlighting those wrecking balls that have kind of gone up a bit. But like you said, you already know how to do this. You know what you want to play for this. Like, choosing Nepal out of the limited map pool we have just makes the most sense. And especially if you are the Simps and you're going to dive, you can do a lot of that in 2 of those 3. Village, you might not. You can kind of do it. You might have a little bit of fumble once you get into village section, but you can kind of just do what you want to play for Nepal.
Yeah, 100%. It does have kind of that open availability to kind of run what you're comfortable with, and we kind of seen both these teams kind of have their own preferences and styles, and I really want to see how much they come up in a map like Nepal, because as we've kind of already noted to, while Brawl can be heavy, I think there's enough of an open area to where if you wanted to run something a bit more dive-centric, you do have some opportunities to be able to do so. But of course, we're going to have to wait and see as we're waiting for everyone to get ready for this game. But going into this Abdonum, I know we've all very much predicted Simp Nation to come away with the win, but of course we have to talk about the fact that this is double elimination. So even if Simp Nation go ahead, win this, move on to the grand finals, it's very possible that Galactica could find themselves in a rematch in the grand finals. It just more becomes this question of, and I'm thinking how to phrase this, because we've seen this happen before, where teams end up dropping down, not because necessarily they aren't as good, but sometimes they will not do their very best. Not sandbagging necessarily, but as in hiding the secret sauce, so to speak.
Yeah, this is the training arc, right? Like, this is you go into the tournament, you hit the final boss, you'll lose the first time, you get knocked on your butt, you fight your way through, and you come back. It's exactly the tournament arc, as we all know and love it. I'm with you. I don't think that's impossible given the run they've had. Galactica's looked very good. They haven't really dropped many maps either, They haven't dropped a game. They're looking really solid. But I think along with that analogy, if this is the case, I have to believe they've found the big bad of the NA Masters, and they're about to just get knocked out of the ring, and it's time to fall into the lower bracket. Because, like you said, maybe we just throw this if we're Galactica, maybe we just kind of like coast back and go, look, this is a loss. Let's just keep our strats to ourselves, play meta, and go. But I don't know that that benefits you, right? Like, if you know you have to play them down the road, you should probably just take the full swing, just throw the big haymaker and see if it connects. Because what if you miss? What if that doesn't work and you need to revise your plan? If you held this plan until the end, just hoping, oh, this is going to be the secret, like you said, the secret sauce we need, it could just be the one thing that makes it into, you know, a big hot mess that even Chef Billy would have to frown at.
Yeah, I mean, we do have those situations where we have seen teams in the past, and almost more often than not, they will come together with what they believe is not only just, maybe just not the meta comp, but the comp that they are most confident running, and we'll see them run it into the ground, whether it works or not. But then there are times where teams do have this eureka moment of whether something just shifts barely enough in the meta, or we have this realization of, oh, we tried this in a scrim, it suddenly works, let's keep running it and see how it feels, and maybe come that rematch 2 weeks down the line, maybe it ends up working out, because again, we never know, because Overwatch is a constantly shifting game and meta, so it can be like that. We've seen it, especially, I'm just saying, it's not impossible. It should always be kept in mind.
Hunter,
What?
baby, you sweet summer child. Constantly shifting game. It's been Tracer Sojourn for the past like 3 to 6 months, dude.
Listen,
I can't respectfully let that slide. Come on,
you
man.
can't. Coming as the tank player, I feel like there's some merit to that statement. So
all right, fine. Sure. You're in the middle of a counter pick duel, so I'll give you that one. But like, this has been this has quite literally been like, we've been playing Tracer Sojourn for so long that even the pros are starting to be like, can we do something else now? But it's still the best thing to do. You need your Tracer players and your Sojourn players to pop off. You need that burst damage. So, you know, maybe we'll see a few changes. People are trying to swap in Venture for Tracer. I don't know that it's gonna stick, but like, you kind of, like you said, you have to have what is at least, you have to start with at least the meta before you kind of venture out into the wide world of whatever other heroes we have.
Yeah, but again, when you're forced against the back of the wall and you realize you're not winning the mirror, yeah, you pull something out. That's maybe we can meet in the middle with that sentiment right there.
Sure, yeah, I'll give you that one. Because I'm with you. When your back's against the wall, you might as well throw everything. And at this point, it's, you know, the back isn't there for Galactica, but you can feel Simp Nation kind of pushing them slowly and forcing them against the wall before it's going to be to that moment.
Yeah, well, we're finally going to get into things here. Seeing what poll teams are going to come out on shouldn't be anything too surprising as Murmur.
This is the one I was concerned about for Simp Nation, because they do like to play ball. I'm sorry, Galactica, because we know they like to play ball, and you can, but they're going with like the oh yeah kind of comp, so... Yeah. I mean, if you've been paying attention, you can maybe make this work. I'm very curious to see how it pans out, because it is a little bit specific, but there's a pretty beastly hit squad in the Hammond and well, never mind. They're gonna throw out my thoughts. That's fine. Now we're gonna. But I will say, nobody coming out on the Reinhardt is interesting, especially with that Earth Shatter buff. That's pretty huge. Like, it's not like game changing, but Lifeweaver Zen is gonna be very risky to come out on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the ideology here is, because I could understand having a Lifeweaver and a Zenyatta 100% if you're running the right tank with it. Like, maybe we were thinking like a ball, maybe even like some forms like a Winston, but a Reinhardt's a little bit of a different story, because the Reinhardt, as soon as they're in a position where they can be delivered a bunch of pressure, they're going to be given that pressure. Just the one thing I want to see from Galactica is just to be able to unlock this point, force them to come to the point, force them to kind of come together, because now Ragcon's already down, and nobody's already taken out a pick, just really just standing on the point for as long as they can. Redemption hoping to get a little bit of favor in terms of room here, trying to bring down nobody, but gets pulled out. A nice one. And it's looking like eventually Galactica going to be able to take over this point, but so then fight not nearly over yet.
No, but with the second pick on the fatty, it's over. Yeah, we're done here, and the Reinhardt's isolated. I like the concept that Simp Nation is bringing here. It feels a little trolly in some regards, because it feels like we're trusting nobody to really go in and just kind of like swing the hammer, but now we're going to change it up. We'll bring in the Zarya, we'll bring in the Cassidy. Yeah, now we're going to play into those counters. We're going to even go to the Brig. Brig Zen is a little better, and it's a lot more stop. Like, this is a lot more against the Tracer. I like these changes. I'm still not sold on the healing. This is very low healing comp, so all it takes is some burst damage from Mint, and she can just end these fights immediately.
Yeah, 100%. You see already 85% over 2. That overclock as well, coming up on 90. These ultimates coming along going to be very important, because remember, Simp Nation had to make a couple of swaps, so don't have the best economy as things are, as Fatty already going to go down, unfortunately. The point, however, is going to flip over, so you can enter stall territory if you'd like to, And hey, you can go beyond that right now. Mint ends up going down. Unfortunately, we see the investment coming through. And Pixie going to go for the copy. Getting rid of Redemption. Going to be able to clean out this fight. Going to manage to get the nice spear on Zadarak, but they're going to be able to get out. So big for Simp Nation to flip that win they did and kind of pull that one back. And it only took them the copy to be able to do so.
Yeah, that's a pretty big value out of a low value. Look, you wanted Hunter to see some unique choices and not just playing in the meta, and it's Simp Nation who's giving that to you instead. So it's up to Galactica now, who's going to have these 4, almost 5 ultimates to run it down, and the opening pick from Mint means that this is basically over.
Yeah, and they do end up using 2 ultimates to be able to do it, but that's fine at the end of the day because you realize Simp Nation doesn't really have much to work with right now, so you can afford to use a couple of bigger ultimates like that, because now if you want to open up this fight, if you wanted to just use the window as well as the overclock together, or just separately, both those can work perfectly fine.
I mean, you might as well throw them together. You have control of this high ground, which means wherever they end up, you have Kenku's window plus the rails. Not that you need it for it, but you do have it. It means you should be able to control most of these angles for Simp Nation's entry, and they don't really have much to do it. They'll probably even have to give up trance if they want to enter onto you. So Galactica primed to push this towards the final moments.
Yeah, because coming up on 70% already at the rate things are going, this is going to be coming down to that final fight area. You see the gold come out, and here comes that combination. Kenku and Mint working together to combine their ultimates. We do see Pope eventually come away with a pick, and no, Pixie trying to get out of there. And we see Deadeye come through, not going to find anything, but a couple people did that quick enough. I believe they could make one more touch, but it's not going to be a clean one no matter what.
If there's going to be a touch, it's going to have to come from the Zenyatta. It's going to give up trance. That is such a huge ultimate that is going to make this so much more difficult. Means that they'll probably lose out in the long run, especially versus Zatara's sound barrier.
Yeah, but nobody managed to make it to the point instead, and now Fatty is just going to stay on nobodies. The beat going to come online to be able to counteract that. Just trying to force people off of the point, trying to make sure you can keep Mint at a distance as Redemption going to go down. Grab is ready to go. If they want to invest it, they can. Looking like they're not going to have to. The 5v3 activated. Pixie does eventually go down, but the point is going to flip, and I imagine Galactica going to get out of there for the time being. Simp Nation, importantly, do hold on to that grab, and now no longer a beat counteracted.
Yeah, that grab is going to be their key to holding this. They know they have to keep these fight chains winning because Galactica is fine to just let that go. They know they need one more fight and it's over. So, you know, if Simp Nation plays this and stalls this out, they could maybe stall this to a full 99-99 and steal the win here. But Galactica are, you know, this is probably a dry fight for them.
Yep, someone does have to come down and touch this point. You do not want it to flip, and they're going to let it flip instead. Grab going to come through. 3 into the back. Need to get rid of the immortality field. A lot of people low right now. Eventually going to drain them down. Excellent strategy right there. And again, you force out a couple more ultimates too. You get the Terror Surge out. That is... I judge them for a moment, not letting the point just being taken over so easily, but it ends up working out fantastically for them.
I mean, that's painful for Simp Nation because you would have loved that to keep ticking up the whole way. That would have brought you just like you wanted to the last fight. Now you only have this duplicate. It's the only thing on the board next to Mint's rails. So, I mean, if Pixie came up huge on the last duplicate, if it comes up huge against here, Simp can steal this. This is their moment to shine for Pixie.
Yep, looking for the right copy right now, trying to find the right person. Mint has already taken down nobody, though. Not a lot of us ready to go as Mint is going to eventually have their overclock, going to have it ready to go as that is taking over. Someone needs to come back for the touch. Eventually does come back through, but it's looking like it's going to be drained away one by one. Simp Nation not able to make it happen. They started out on the very wonky Reinhardt comp, and that one fight difference just ends up coming and biting them in the back.
Interesting. We all kind of assumed Simp Nation came into this with this... You know, look, they didn't play it. They said on the desk, they didn't play in midseason. They just went, yeah, we don't really have the players. We don't really feel we need this, and, you know, we'll let them go. But Simp Nation really kind of showing a bit of a struggle here. It looked like they finally got some things together, but some very crucial just missed timings of just point control, ultimate usage really hurt them in the long run, and it's reflected a bit here in the stats as well. You can see it between, you know, most of the damage has come through on Mint 16. There's only one player on the side of Simp Nation with double-digit elims, and that's nobody who should. They're going to keep the same comp here. Galactica not changing anything either, but I mean, I do think Simp Nation are on the right call. They're going to put Lisbeth over to the Lucio as well. I do like this a lot better. I think that they have the better tank line and to overwhelm here in this regard. Yeah, things like it might look out in Simp Nation's favor, and that's going to be readily apparent. Mint does manage to get rid of Pope, but that is going to more or less spell the end of this fight. See a little bit of pressure from Raikkonen in the background. Unfortunately, going to have to recall. Not going to be long for this Earth or long for this area. Point is going to go over to Simp Nation to start things out, but luckily, get Raikkonen out, you will be able to re-engage at a quick pace. Yeah. I do wonder if Galactica maybe need to mimic the swap off of the Orisa here. You do have double beam in your face, and that's not necessarily going to work against your spin. So Simp Nation playing well. They just need to make sure they avoid these picks, and Mint is going to open it up instead.
Yep, you saw the moment that Immortality Field came out. There was this direct attention to it. Now you managed to get rid of the you managed to get rid of the block as well, as we kind of see someone trying to hold on. That is a, yeah, you said fantastic boop. And now they're going to invest in the copy as well. Wow, hey, why not? Why not? For the fun of it. Give him a second boop. Why not?
The copy boop is real. What a play. Okay, that's a flex. Go Pixie. Look, that's... We're set the sound barrier. Yeah, look, we might as well. Look, the CGL royalty that we were looking for, that's it. That's right there. That's a flex. That's what you know what you're doing here. It was a costly ult, though, Hunter, so Recon probably has the best chance to open this up with a Pulse Bomb.
Yeah, but Elizabeth does come up on that beat here pretty shortly, so we'll be able to counteract Kenku, or eventually Redemption as well. But can only let this fight open up a little bit more, and that's exactly what Simp Nation wants. But unfortunately, nobody, not really gonna get much from that situation. Is this fight looking like eventually going to go over to Galactica? They are managing to get a little bit of stall out of Simp Nation right now. Lastly, going to be coming from Hove, who is looking to survive still. Unfortunately, not being too nice to them, but still 72% stalling for that long. That puts you in pretty close to one-fight territory.
Every percentage matters, and it gives Simp, it bought Simp a little bit more time for a regroup. They have Sound Barrier, they have Blade, they have Grab. A lot of high-value ultimates here, so just need to not overinvest, and they have to get past this Sound Barrier because Galactica is winning in the ults right now, so they have to get past this first.
Yep, nobody does have this grab ready to go. They're going to not send it down, going to invest the beat instead, not going to be able to do anything, and somehow Lisbeth gets caught right there with the Terra Surge. That fight's just going to end right then and there. Good for Galactica, where I really didn't think anybody was going to be caught out after the fact, but unfortunately, that's just a devastating pick right there for Simp Nation.
Yeah, that feels like something just kind of went awry. It feels like we made a call to go, pulled Blade, and didn't quite have the confidence to back it up. The plus side for them is that it did pull most of those ultimates out, so Simp Nation, Grab, Duplicate, they'll have a window too. It might be a 2-ult win here, but they should be able to win this and get back to point control. They just have to push past Redemption first.
Yeah, the Grab is still ready to go, by the way. Has had it for more than 2 fights now, and again, not going to use it. Galactica really cleaning things up here. And I'm not sure what Simp Nation is necessarily waiting on with these ultimates. They've had this Grab for a long while now.
I just don't think they've been able to push past Redemption. Redemption's been in their face, and you have two characters that realistically do so much pressure, and they're going to put Poop onto the Reaper now. We're just going to try to burst down this Orisa, but we need to get the backline out of the way because as long as the Baptiste lives, there's going to be an Immortality Field to keep the Orisa up longer. Got to break the chain of saves first.
Yeah, immediately going to give up that territory and play back a little bit. Just listen out for the rotations. Make sure they're not going around that back right side. That's exactly what they'll be doing. You're going to send Poob over along with Lisbeth. Going to hit the backside right now. But Fatty and nobody already down this flank. Not going to end up working out. Eventually going to take one with him on the spear. And with 95%. And Fatty, the only person coming back from spawn, unfortunately doesn't seem like we're going to have a retouch here. So Galactica are going to pull away with the first map. Wow.
The words that come to my mind, Hunter, is comedy of errors.
Yeah.
Particularly in that last map. But it also applies to the whole first map in a lot of ways, right? It was a lot of small errors on Simp Nation that kind of ended up really costing them. These moments like letting the point flip, just mistiming the use of these ultimates. They all really hurt. The mischoice of comp coming out in the beginning, thinking you could win in a Reinhardt versus Orisa. Like, it just seems like these comedies of errors just kind of keep compiling and piling, and eventually Simp Nation just can't quite get behind it. When you look at this more meta comp that Galactica is bringing, yeah, they're showing that they've been practiced. They're putting in the work, and maybe we all are wrong here, Hunter. Maybe we all owe Galactica an apology because they've clearly put in the homework to not just the meta, but also what they need to do to beat Simp Nation.
Hey, I don't think I owe them an apology personally, but we'll
see at the end. We'll see at the end.
But I mean, no, you make a fantastic point, honestly. And I think part of this does come to the fact that these teams did fight against each other 3 weeks ago. So I think there's just this understanding where they know Simp Nation doesn't really fully fall into the meta. So it's like, okay, let's go with the meta. Let's go what's best. This is what we can be confident in and get a lot of practice in. Because this is also what you're going to be playing against a lot of the time as well. So you can especially get practice learning more about it because you can learn a lot about a composition, not just playing it itself, but playing against it especially.
I mean, You can see it. The damage from output from the side of Simp Nation was just matched by the healing, and it's very difficult. And even Fatty, you know, had a rough game there at 5 and 11, and that's the difference I really want to highlight between these two teams, is that the backline from the side of Galactica really hasn't been bothered, and that's where the Tracer comes in. You know, when you're just able to get around and poke at, you know, the Baptiste, whoever those squishies are in the back, it's so much easier to win the game when you just deny that healing. So, I mean, not to call him out there because it's a tough position to be in, but it almost harkens back to why Tracer has been so dominant in this meta. You need someone on those backlines. You need a flanker to get back there and prevent just the heal botting and keeping the tank up, especially a sturdy tank like Orisa. It's why this comp works so well for the side of Galactica, and it's been such a key to their success.
Yeah, 100% has been, and there's a good opportunity for them to pull it out once again because, of course, loser picks with Simp Nation going to take us to our next map, and this is a very interesting pick. We're going over to Eichenwald, which the last time these teams faced off each other, again, 3 weeks ago, it was Galactica that came out with the win on this map, a 5-4 on Eichenwald to take that win. So, I mean, we're back to the same logic as Nepal, where okay, you picked them up because you won it recently. Why not? That made sense. This is not the same boat now, Soap Denim. It's not.
Yeah, my guess is that you feel like you've practiced this one. Maybe you've watched the feed on this one. Like if you're watching your VODs back, you know, you're putting in the work. You're gonna watch the losses. You're not necessarily watching the wins. So it kind of makes sense, but I could also see wanting to avoid it. There was other map choices. So this has to be very intentional based on the fact that, you know, we feel the redemption arc. My other thought to all this is that, you know, maybe there's some other comp that they want to be running here for Simp Nation on Eichenwald. It's a lot flatter. You know, you get the B point, you have to maintain the castle, but there's not necessarily, you know, it's a lot harder to maintain, especially on, you know, across these low grounds. So you can run something like a ball or a Winston. You can force a lot of those dive elements. So I'm wondering if there's like a compositional choice behind this as well.
Yeah, I mean, we did see earlier they had a lot of comfortability bringing out Pixie out on the Echo. We saw a bit of the Genji as well. So I do think there's a high potential that we could see something like that. And of course, we're going to have to see as we'll get in here momentarily. But what I've been really curious to see is if Galactica is going to stick with this Orisa composition. It seems like what they're comfortable with and what they want to keep. But they have to be anticipating Simp Nation are going to pull out something weird to come to the one map that you've beaten them in before.
Hopefully they do, but the question from Simp Nation
that's cap. Come on, please.
That's not going to happen.
I'd be fine with it. Give it to me.
I don't think so. Simp Nation is going to try to. It's interesting because they keep trying to push this Life Weaver, and I don't hate the idea of it. He did get buffs. He got a little better. Just kind of acknowledging, look, we need to play the Orisa here. Sure, yeah, like the sustain I don't hate on this, but the Life Weaver versus the Lucio is going to be the interesting choice. I refuse to speak on Galactica until the door is open. So in that regard, like I do wonder, because that feels like a very comfortable point for Elizabeth. We talked about, you know, are you just going to play, like, are you just going to play on this? And yeah, they'll go out. That's what I thought. Like, I do wonder, like, that's a preferred character for Elizabeth, so I have to wonder if this is something they've been, you know, cooking. Because you do miss out from speed boost. It is a rough... It is so important in this meta to have speed boost, and this might be a pain point for them.
Yeah, that's why you see a lot of people already playing back, trying to play around these, eventually getting over to these high grounds that are available to them around the point. It's very useful at the end of the day. It'd be very useful also with Pixie up in the sky. Kind of going to have a constant track as to where people are going, if people are taking the left or right path, trying to loop onto the high ground. Because right now, they're just trying to go in all in with these pressure, putting them in uncomfortable situations. But Ray already going to get a right cone, so going to take them out and make that a 2-for-1 special as well, clearing things out. And we have not been able to see the Ashe yet, but it seems to be a good pick to start off for them, as it's really going to limit everything that Mint and Raikkonen can actually do. Because Raikkonen has been an absolute menace, but perhaps the Ashe is going to be the answer to stop them.
I mean, considering Mint was, again, just kind of able to free fire, there was no real contest onto her for most of it. Now we're going to get we're going to make the swap here. We're going to get the Echo in the air as well. So, yeah, it makes sense. If you don't think you can win the mid-range, long-range duel, take a different angle on it, and I respect that choice. But I mean, Pixie's already at a duplicate. Like as fast as Kenku built Window, we already have a duplicate on board. Great shot.
Just leaves. Zadarak right there. Unfortunately, gets deleted afterwards as well. The 4v4 already does have the Terror Surge ready to go. Gonna pull a couple back in.
Ooh.
Goes in with such minimal health, so going to be deleted. It's the second one's the charm, obviously. Gets through, eventually pulled, and now I don't think anyone can make it back. But we do see the swap over to first ball now Winston, so I don't think they're going to retouch, as they're just going to be setting up for the high ground for second.
Yeah, the high ground's too important to give up, so I mean, you need the Winston to jump and dive that. Elizabeth does have Tree. We also have both the support ultimates for Simp Nation, including a Bob coming up, so like, from sheer firepower, Simp Nation should be able to put a stop, but Galactica are in a very good position for ultimates of their own to kind of counteract this, and Sound Barrier will be a lot more saving than Tree will in this regard, so really going to have to watch out for this Lucio and how they get use of their Sound Barrier.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, Gravy Mint. That is crazy. Getting rid of Pixie almost immediately in that 1v1 situation, and now 5v4. There's not a whole lot Simp Nation can do to kind of to really stop this cart from moving, as they can't really fully commit to the dive without the echo. So eventually we see somebody drop on to the point, as Ray has managed to find Kenku. Hope we clear things out a little bit. Man, hoping to find somebody, especially this Lifeweaver, not going to be able to get the copy out on time, so eventually going to be stop momentum for Galactica. Still, the opportunity to get a lot of members out, but unfortunately, Zadarak somehow gets out. Uh-oh.
I like the defensive dive from the Simp Nation. We're instead playing, we're not trying to dive the backline here, we're playing to defend our vulnerable Lifeweaver and our vulnerable Baptiste, and I like this change. Galactica is going to go over and pick up the Moira. Now we're just all in on healing. We're all in on sustain, and we're just going to run down things, and this is a rough spot for Simp Nation.
Yeah, B comes online, unfortunately not really going to be on time against Raycon, as they're pulled back into the Terror Surge. Eventually gets lifted up, not really going to save everybody in the situation, but going to allow everyone to kind of eventually back off, and Galactica plan not quite working for them right now, but Redemption doing a heck of a lot of work on this Orisa. Poop eventually going to be forced to use that. They eventually be forced to use the Primal Rage as well. Kind of just stalling on the cart more than anything else. Eventually gets Kenku into a corner, forcing them to fade out, as Simp Nation just going to have to back up for now, but a nice kill by Ray to kind of even things back up, and this is just, it's just been a constant back and forth the last, like, 60 seconds.
Ray has been a shining star for the Simp Nation team. I really wish, and I love the fact that we're trying to put the resources into him to make this work, but now we're coming into, 2 minutes 30. It's still so long on this clock. Kenku's coming up to a Coalescence, which means, there's a lot of burst damage coming from Galactica. This is that Lucio speed burst. All it's going to take is a Coalescence and a speed burst just to get them in onto somebody from Simp Nation, and the fight might be as good as over here, Hunter.
And 100% is coming up just over 2 minutes currently. Kenku is going to have this Coalescence, so we're likely to see another aggressive push to the top, and there they go, immediately starting out with it. Remember, not going to have the spear to be able to get rid of it. Here's that cleanup from Galactica. We do see the copy come through from Pixie, though, to be able to kind of consolidate, try to hold on to this top area for as long as they can, try to get the ultimate. Fortunately, not going to be able to, and is going to pay with their life. And Poop now up there by themselves. Wants to nice field, maybe get rid of Raycon, but unfortunately not going to be able to, as eventually the cleanup will come through, and this cart should finally be able to start getting some progression.
It was a long overdue hold, but we're still going to get the Winston in the space, which, hey, respect from Poop, who's really doing a lot of work. Gets grabbed out, and I mean, it dodged the post bomb though, so that's a huge comeuppance. That
is crazy, and now coming in with the Terror Surge is going to eventually catch things, but we saw the tree come through. Doesn't save Lisbeth, and it might not end up being saving a whole lot of Fatty, going to play around it, getting more than enough healing to be able to stay up that tree. Bob ends up being an absolute godsend. Is Mint now with the copy, hoping to find something more. Unfortunately, not going to be able to. And Galactica, by the way, are just now getting somebody on this cart and getting moving. So that whole fight that they ended up winning ends up being almost meaningless.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, it was one of those moments where you've had this, you need to keep pressure, one of those, again, minor errors where you got to keep the cart moving. And now you have to make your onslaught again. This time you have the Winston Primal in your face, so running straight at Poob isn't going to be an answer here.
No, definitely not going to be. A Simp Nation still have the Primal Rage online, have the Application Matrix that they're going to use right away. Unfortunately, not going to have a whole lot of use, as Ray is going to get deleted. That's Fatty a bit of a weird situation, but the weird situation now is Poob is eventually going to be forced to use the Primal Rage just to be able to stay alive. Unfortunately for Redemption, they don't quite have it, but they do get hit with the beat. Going to help for Galactica to clean things up here, get some progress on that cart as Poob, again, just try to do a little bit of damage on this before getting out with a double jump. And ends up getting pulled as well. Called a triple jump. Why not?
The good news for Simp Nation is that there's likely one last chance to touch, because like you said, the cart hasn't been fully moving. They only have Pixie's duplicate, so they're going to have to hit something. It's probably going to be something else. And Poop's going to pick up the ball here. Speed is key, so we're going to have to go if there's even a chance of touching time.
Yeah, 0.7% going to go with that copy. It's going to get the Lucio, which is very interesting. I don't think that was the plan. And now Galactica, excellent position to be able to clean this out, to take it to the second. But Ray does manage to get rid of one, unfortunately. Not going to have a Bob anytime soon, as Poop is now on there with the Wrecking Ball. Getting a lot of heals from the tree as well. The last person standing. Pixie looks like they're going to be actually be coming back on the Venture, and they're really going all in to try to hold this point to stall. Unfortunately, Poop not going to be surviving for much longer here. It's eventually going to be deleted, as Pixie does manage to find one. Poop finds a second one, but the Primal Rage is still online, and Redemption might want to try to use it sooner rather than later. And here it comes, trying to move people away, take them off of this thing. Overtime been activated for a long time, so they cannot afford to get off as Poop eventually goes down. Needs to be able to find a second one, though. Going to jump in.
No way.
We need to get back to the cart!
You could see it in the shakes. You could see it. Redemption's like, I need to pressure, I need to push off cart, but I can't go far. Eventually says, I think there's someone here, and they can stay on the cart. Takes too many steps off, and where's your CGL certified C9er? Man,
can't
what a comedy of errors. This is just turning out to be that again. This is just turning out to be that, because that was a great initial look from Galactica, but you know, look, this is the Simp Nation we wanted to see, right? Like, this is the Simp Nation we thought we were going to see, who was going to come in, be a dominant force, and clutch up in those last minutes, and they did. To their credit, Hunter, they clutched up, they put their foot down just before point B, and they got the stop when, with how much time, how many minutes did they even burn off the clock? At least 3 to 4?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they originally going with a big time clock, and part of that does come down to Galactica not just making the rule 1 mistake, but the rule 2 mistake of put bodies on the cart, not just for overtime, but just in general, as they just weren't able to get all the progress that they ended up fighting for. As take a look at the stat lines over here, standing out. A lot of feeling coming through from Lisbeth. Holy moly, for someone that's been between the Lifeweaver mostly, that is a ton of feeling to be getting.
I'd say that's the only real, like, noticeable difference, right, is that Lisbeth on the Lifeweaver really hasn't been able to do much damage, whereas, like, you're playing Lucio, you can still just send out them O's and hit and drop the beats on them, but we'll pick up the Lucio here for Simp Nation, and Pixie is going to stay on the Venture. It is a good Tracer counter. We're playing all in versus this Tracer, and I do think it's a good opener, except for when Mint just absolutely gets first pick.
Yeah, we did see Kenku get kind of low. I was nervous about them dropping, unfortunately. Gonna be unfortunate, as Redemption does manage to get the cleanse. Gonna be able to stay up, and Lisbeth dropping means that fight definitively going to be over. Simp Nation gonna have to completely restart, as Ray was literally sitting on 1 health for a moment there.
Yeah, that was dang low, but Kenku had swapped over to the Kiriko, picking that up now, and I mean, that's the changes you need, right? If you don't want to play for Baptiste, you play for Kiriko, who's still very strong here, and it's still in the neutral, so Simp Nation have to find a target. They need to collapse on somebody here, and it's not going to be this Tracer who's just in their back line.
Yeah, Poop already got forced out of their golden form as well, so not going to have that going in here for the first couple of seconds. You see the separation from Ray. He's going to still be able to stay alive, and instead, Ray going to be paying the price. Instead, Pixie, a nice job on the Venture, eventually helping with the cleanup as well. As the rest of the members going to try to back out, going to try to set up for a touch, because they do have the ability to do so, but it's a risk to do so, and a massive one.
Not with that late Kiriko pick. Never mind, it's done here. Yeah. We're still trying to find Venture's position in the meta right now, but Pixie's making a very good case for the anti-Tracer. In fact, it's even forced Recon off of the Tracer, and we're going to pick up the Cassidy, just deciding, look, we're not going to play into this. We're just getting bullied by too many things on Simp Nation, so let's do it. And that's a great sign for Simp Nation. It forces them off of something they were winning on, and it means that Simp Nation, with this sound barrier in pocket, are likely to go ahead and get some more mileage on this cart now.
And 100%, a lot of ults ready to go as well. As you see right now, they have a body just sitting on the cart, but Galactica are going to take out the middleman and go pressure immediately. Cleanse is forced out. Beat having to be used. A lot of ultimates coming out in the span of a couple of seconds. That was going to go for the favor of Simp Nation, eventually cleaning things up here. And now they have the room to get as much progress as they want. And oh my god!
Ray has been absolutely nutty with these hit scans. Absolutely on fire with the Ash, now showing it on the cast. I love it. Tech Shock and Window coming up. Nothing. I mean, there's sound barrier in the way for Galactica, but I mean, Galactica have been struggling. They have not won a fight on this half yet.
Yeah, not at all. We do see that come through. The cleanse literally keeps Lisbeth alive. Or the cleanse keeps Zatarak alive. My apologies, as Mint has the overclock ready to go. Is going to double down and use it to be able to try to clean this up here. Despite a must-win right now. Eventually cleaning things up. Mint will eventually drop, but the damage has already been done. Pixie on the scene manages to get rid of one. Not going to be able to find the second, though. So Simp Nation not going to be able to push that further. And Galactica finally has an opportunity to stabilize.
I mean, it's Galactica just won by sheer ultimate power, like just straight up. That's just what it is. So, but now that we're back to even, I mean, Zatar has sound barrier. You're good for a long fight here. You have the high ground position. You just got to make sure you get to the long fight, and getting immortality field out of Fatty is huge. You just need to make sure you can go on it now.
Yeah, I mean, but talk about the difference between these two teams. We had one team that constantly was not keeping on the point, not delivering any pressure to it. We have a team like Simp Nation who is just delivering all of the pressure, as Lisbeth already down, so looking better for Galactica, but unfortunately gonna lose out on their Cassie. You see a Deadeye come out over from Ray, hoping to find something, but if anything else, it's just denying a bunch of space, and eventually the final cleanup for Mint, and now Simp Nation gonna tie up the series 1-1 with a borderline dominant victory here on Eichenwald. A far shout for how this affair went for them last time in this map.
Yeah, no, I think dominant is the correct word here, because that was very good. Mint putting up a very good performance on the Sojourn as well, but I mean, Simp Nation just looked to be in a different form. We wondered if this map choice, you know, what was the logic here? You lost this, and it shows, look, they did prepare. They were ready for this, and maybe it wasn't exactly how we thought they were going to be prepared for this, but they definitely did, and I think a lot of it has to come from the back of the DPS line, Ray and Pixie. Pixie a little bit quieter this time, but Ray, just an absolute clip show from their Ashe and their Cassidy across the board. Simp Nation really, maybe it was just a game to warm up, but they are firing on all cylinders now.
Yeah, it was really impressive to kind of come to see the difference between map 1 and map 2, or it felt like before.
That.
Yeah, that was
certified.
Certified copy moment right there. Is, I mean, yeah, you said yourself, I'm kind of impressed with this turnaround between map 1 and map 2, where it wasn't like it was an absolute stomp on Nepal either. It was very back and forth. It was just the early on mistakes that really cost the Simp Nation, but this time around, they knew what they wanted to play, they knew what they were comfortable at, and this time ends up working out fantastically so. But I'm as much as I want to see the successes of Simp Nation on this, it's the failures of Galactica that we kind of have to bring up, because we look back on that situation of getting off the cart, not getting your progress. Is what?
Hunter from Ray. 13,000 from Ray. That's 2,000 over Mint and tying both of the tanks. And these are tank-heavy damage comps, right? These are Urlishas that are always firing. But a lot of it really has to do, and look at the other numbers that are standing out here, is the healing stat lines. Lisbeth and Fatty at 19 total, and Kenku and Zatar coming in at 20. They're just a little bit behind, but you know what? If you are putting out enough damage to win and you are supporting your carry enough, it doesn't matter how much healing you're doing, as long as your carry is doing the carry.
I mean, you said yourself, 100%, as I'm really kind of looking forward to kind of looking at this comparison we have ready here in front of us between two of our support players, Fatty and Kenku. And the one difference, as we have pointed out, is that healing, pretty much a complete double from Kenku at 14,000. That is,
yeah.
I mean, that is an incredible difference.
That is a huge number. I mean, it doesn't help that Fatty's had such a... I harped on it in the first game, but like, Fatty's had an awful time playing Overwatch today, because he has just been getting hit and bullied and tracer shot and pecked at from all kinds of angles. So to sit here and kind of compare these numbers, yeah, it's very clear that like Kenku was playing incredibly well, but for Fatty to take all the abuse and come in and get hit like this, and for the team to still comes on top, tells you that, look, they understand that Simp Nation understands, look, you can take our flex support. We don't need that. The person who's carrying is our DPS over here, who's just clicked heads, you know, multiple times in a row. So they're playing, it's the old sack the pawn to get the king in position kind of a play.
I mean, yeah, 100%. I'm really curious how things are going to go from here, because it's still loser's pick. We'll find out in the next map eventually. But of course, Sev Dunham, we do have to take a moment to kind of give our halftime break. These teams potentially going to have a long night in front of us. Could we be looking at potentially a map 5 between these teams for the very first time? We're going to have to find out after our break. So wait around for a few minutes, and we'll see you then.
Inside here, you know, you get an insight and you know something. but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and he'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know? But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
welcome back everybody to our matchup here in the upper finals of the NA Masters tier between Simp Nation and Galactica. And it has been a two-sided story thus far. We came in with Simp Nation being the favorites going into this match, almost definitively so, as between, you know, us and the desk. But we came into that first map, Galactica really cooked, really played something they were comfortable on. But then we come into Iconwall, Simp Nation ends up pulling it back, and dominantly so. So the question is, what are Simp Nation cooking at this point? It feels like a wildly different team compared from map 1 to map 2.
I mean, it could just be a case of playing with their food. Maybe they know they can win this comp. Maybe they know exactly what they're doing. We saw nobody come in for map 1. We haven't seen them since. You know, a couple of these players seem to be listed. You know, I think it was Pixie was supposed to be the other tank player, but has been playing Echo primarily, which, you know, I mean, if your Echo's primarily copying tank, it's not the worst thing, but I don't know. It seems like there's maybe an element of playing with their food a little bit for them. So going into Saravasa, though, I don't know. Maybe this is Galactica's chance, because they've shown that they are very understanding of the Orisa comp, that meta kind of stability comp, and they know what they're doing. And Simp Nation have their answer. They know what they can do. We saw that venture come out and it worked. So now we're just going to kind of get another view at are these unique picks from Simp Nation, making the difference here, or can Galactica just hunker down and actually get steal another map here?
I mean, yeah, it's worth noting. I mean, we kind of looking at the rosters that we can see, there's no real swaps coming back out, so nobody is not coming back out here. So I imagine we might see something very similar to what we had seen originally on Eichenwald. I do think even with a map like this, there is a lot of potential to pull out something like the Echo. Again, it's not necessarily very volatile on that first map, but once you look at the other 4, I mean, those maps have a lot of open areas outside of the main center of the point. So if you wanted to still run that, you 100% have the availability to. It's just not going to be as effective as something like Eichenwald, that while it does have kind of a lot of areas to maneuver around, the primary place you play is up in these high grounds and these open areas. So I don't think it's going to have the same level of effectivity, but if they wanted to do it, they could still get away with it.
Yeah, you're right. They still could. We did see the Echo quite a bit, and it's a decent kind of second choice if you don't want to play the Sojourn.
Yeah.
But I do think the problem with that is Simp Nation's shown they have the number. We bring out the Venture, we bring out the Cassidy. This just gets rid of Tracer and Echo. So like, I mean, if you're Galactica, you know that they have an answer for you. You're probably going to force it just because it's your best comp.
I mean, yeah.
But on the other side, Simp Nation, like, look, we found what's working for us. We're just going to roll with this. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Venture Cassidy again come out for the side of Simp Nation, and Galactica are going to... Look, I know the Orisa's staying. I think Mint might actually stay on the Cassidy here, but... I mean, I'm curious to see what Galactica has as a response, right? Because now they're on the back foot of all this. They've shown that they can lose on their preferred comp, so I'm very curious to see if they just kind of back it up to the same thing and Rakan goes back to the Tracer. Yeah, I think that might be, they might swap up after this first fight. Like, you have to know the Venture Cassidy is going to be there.
Yeah, and now that's the only difference between Pixie and Raikon, as for the time being, going to see Galactica going to be pushed immediately out of this choke area. The rest can be forced back. Zadarak almost getting themselves picked off, but Kenku's actually going to be the first one to drop, and just like that, he loses out on the main source of healing. You're going to have to back out and get out of there already. Make sure you keep, Raikon alive as well as we forced out. First point going to start out for Simp Nation. And as you said it before, I wonder how long they're going to keep this pick, knowing that this Venture is going to be an absolute menace for the entire map.
Yeah. Venture is just a peel machine. Like, you have a peel machine with a one-shot combo on this Venture. And Pixie's very, very paying attention to the backline now, where this Tracer is. You can see you can see Simp Nation is making those calls now.
Yep, going in deep right now, hoping to find Kenku once again, delivering a lot of pressure. Mint going to be the first one to go down. Immortality Field will get forced out, and while things are going a little back and forth, the damage has been more than done already. Trying to stay alive is Redemption. Is Pixie going to help them out with cleaning things up here? But one thing worth noting is Raikon has managed to find a couple of picks throughout that, so Kenku gonna have a bit of a eventually gonna have to get their way back. I'm sorry, but it is Final Fight territory, and their touch, no matter what, is not going to be clean. Just Simp Nation are not letting them through at all.
No, I mean, you still have your two most damaging picks in front of Galactica, so there will be a touch. Ooh. But, I mean, Poob has looked very good on this Orisa as this frontline tank. And, I mean, again, following up on those shots is just so huge.
Yeah, again, this is the second fight now where they've lost Kenku. They're just going to clean things up with the raw damage that they have. They're doing Terror Surge literally just for fun. Let's be honest, they did it just for fun right there. Because they wanted to use it. So first point, going to go over to Simp Nation.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah,
For sure, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, there you go. Well,
Yeah,
you got
that was
it.
just for you, chat. Enjoy it. but for real talk, Poop just built that straight up faster. Redemption, who had been a standout for Galactica, just is behind in ult charge, and now Simp Nation coming in with the other 4 on the line, so they are just destined to lose this here.
Yeah, I do like Kenku being over on the Kiriko as well, though. Mint is going to catch Lisbeth, though. Going to lose out on the potential of getting that beat, so now just have to wait for Pixie to come back up, catch them in the situation, but with Redemption already going to be down and Pixie back on the scene, Simp Nation going to be able to clean this one up. Holy moly! And just... Galactica do not have an answer for this, for this Redemption, but Mint gonna try to match it instead.
I mean, yeah, when you don't think you can win on your preferred heroes, you have to take the mirror. Unfortunately for Mint, the mirror already has ultimates over you. There's 4 up for Simp Nation, and still no sound barrier. So this fight's as good as over, as far as I'm concerned here.
I mean, yeah, we did the slam come through. Right ends up getting caught, but now Pixie gonna be ready to go. Going to use it. Already 2 down though. They have to find something. Zadarek somehow gets caught out with it. Fortunately, not going to be anything as the beat gets used specifically for Poob and for Lisbeth as the Ajax came through for Zadarek. I did not realize initially that it looks like they're eventually going to win the fight, but still, that's a massive ult to lose in that situation. If Simp Nation also getting a lot of stall as well, putting themselves into that one-fight territory, getting 74%.
I mean, the Ajax was there, but it was, we got what we needed out of it. We got the fight win, and that's a shame. Yeah, in the middle, the tech shock just hit it. That's a great snipe from the Mint there. Incredibly done. But, hey, that's the way it is. So, Simp Nation 2 in hand will have a Terror Surge as well. And, I mean, it's up to Raikkonen here still in the Tracer. Absolutely gets deleted, so never mind that Pulse Bomb now.
Yeah, not going to happen. I like the idea. Unfortunately, didn't really work out. And now, you're in a situation where you might not want to try to use anything at all. Take the death on this point. Make sure everybody dies together as they're going to go in with the Terror Surge, cleaning things up here. Simp Nation going to clean out this fight, and unfortunately, those deaths were somehow not on the point, so with 80% are going to come online, I think a retouch is next to impossible.
Yeah, it's not happening, and unfortunately, Kenku threw in Kitsune Rush on a hope and a prayer, so that's gone for the next fight now. Looking ahead, it's Galactica's just going to go... Nope. No, they will not. No, they will not touch Hunter. Despite the best efforts of Raikkonen, they will not touch, and we will go on. The only thing Raikkonen will touch is Spawn, which puts Simp Nation in the point to, again, get first touch of this point and be able to defend. And as long as they're holding these positions and they're able to play a bit more defensively into this comp, they win. This Galactica has to push them, and everybody is on a high alert for Tracer and Kiriko right now.
Yeah, 100% here is already Galactica. Does manage to make their way into the point first and foremost, despite losing Raikkonen earlier. And now, with a way to come through, the Amplification Matrix going to buy them a ton of space, going to force Galactica over to the left side of this point. Force them into the upper areas as well, as they're eventually going to force their way through. Immortality Field still there. Mid is going absolutely fuck wild! Finding the 3K, eventually going to help out with Redemption on the last 2. Galactica finally going to fully take a fight decisively this time around. What a fantastic combo right there.
That's a good. We love to see those pulls, and the team. That's the teamwork of Overwatch, right? You love to see it. Unfortunately, didn't get the ace, but man, that was beautifully done. You love to see the good venture play, and Mint's holding their own on this. Pixie had been a standout on the venture, but now Mint showing, look, I've not slouched either. I can still hold my own on this venture duel.
Yeah, but one thing worth noting is they used all 3 ultimates they had during that fight. So now Simp Nation going to have their own ultimates coming back online. They're not going to hold them back at all. Going to force them back. Cleanse is already gone. They're going to get off the point. Literally not even going to get the retouch either. So they lose the fight based off of that merit as is. And now Galactica got to come back into this, hoping to get the Kitsune Rush, but they cannot lose anybody in the meantime, especially not Zadarek right now. Is Kenku going to bring out the Kitsune Rush? The beat going to come online. A nice spear trying to book Pixie away. Gets him off the edge now. Galactica finally getting something working, and Mint somehow gets rid of Lisbeth as well. Fight eventually going to go back. The point going to fall back into Galactica's hands. But this point could have fully been theirs, and we could have had a 2-1 situation if it weren't for the aggressive push and flip by Simp Nation earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, but it was met by the counter aggression of Galactica. They threw all in. They knew they can't play defensively and they can't play safe. Simp is expecting them to play aggressively, so they have to cater their aggression accordingly. That's what happens, and that's what shows when you win. It'll be Poob over to the Winston now to try to, just give themselves a little more movement to balance this out. So gonna have to see how this Winston just survives into this tanky comp.
Yeah, we're seeing going to be the B come out from Zadarek right now. Fatty going to have to use Immortality Field just to make sure everybody stays alive. But this fight could potentially be over with already, as going to see a lot of damage come through from Pixie now. Eventually going to be booped away as men.
Wow.
They're not going to make their way back. Pixie helping clean things up here. Somehow the Winston seemingly working out. Going to separate Redemption. Should be eventually be able to get rid of them. Kenku not going to be too far behind, as the rest of the players just going to die on the point or manage to get out in Kenku's case. And they're going to chase a little bit as well, hoping to find them, but it looks like Kenku will get out safe and sound.
The plus side for Galactica here is you have Pulse Bomb, and if you're tracking, you know Elizabeth is a little bit off of that sound barrier, so
yeah,
you stand a chance to maybe get an opening pick and capitalize on it, but that has not been your strong point for Galactica. It's been Simp Nation opening up all these fights, so really have to, again, the pressure's on the Tracer here. We have to see Rickon just hit something with this Pulse Bomb.
Yeah, it comes through.
And it's gone.
And it is gone. No ultimate's going to be online right now. It comes down to these supports to get them online. Pixie, though, going to have it ready to go. Going to send it out. A lot of damage throwing Redemption's way. Need to be able to survive. Same thing with Poop, though, who's already sitting under 200 health. The bubble's gone, but the beak way to come online. Kenku sitting at 97%, needs to get it there at 98, 99, but it's not going to come alive on time. Simp Nation going to clean things up. Will eventually take Saravasa in 3-0 fashion. And wow. Wow is the one word that I have for this map. Wow. That's insane.
I think they're trying to fulfill the prophecy here, Hunter. I think they saw the 3-1s and went, you know what, let's give them a 3-1. And that's not to say that was an intentional throw, but I mean, not when Mint comes up with plays like that. That it's, you still have to earn every single one of these fights when Mint is playing Venture like that. So, I mean, but like you said, it was just a very strong showing. Simp Nation came out immediately countering Galactica. Everything, everything, as I was saying before, everything was comedy of errors against them, and now everything is going exactly their way. They're picking the right comps into Galactica. Their calling has come together, and whether they were just playing with their food or just kind of flexing for stream, I mean, they're on fire right here. They are crushing right now.
I mean, no, 100%. We do see these little moments from Galactica brilliance, but unfortunately, that usually comes at the cost of a lot of their ultimates. You see it right here. Fantastic fight. Takes 3 of their ultimates, so 3 of the best ultimates in their arsenal as well. And while they win the fight, that leaves them nothing for the fight after that. And you kind of see right here, they make advantage of these moments of being able to play around this environmental death situation. Unfortunately, Simp Nation, they play their cards right. They hold on to the ultimates that they need, and ultimately, ends up paying off for them as we go back to the stat lines. And I mean, what's the one thing on this that really stands out to you?
That would be the 2 players on the side of Simp Nation with over 20 elims versus, 3, almost 60, was that 60% of the team just not completing kills. Kenku is 4 and 5, Zatar is 5 and 6. People aren't hitting the 1-to-1 KD, which means they are just not even trading out, which is it hurts. If you can't even get traded out, if you can't even complete those kills, it's just unfortunately the way it goes, because it's 11k healing to 10k healing. They're finally starting to heal a little bit more for Simp, which they don't need to. But the other thing that stands out is just, a lot of Galactica's plan, they're all in on Redemption. They're really putting a lot of hope into Redemption being the high damage and the high opener for them. So it's interesting because that's how the comp wants to run, right? You want to pressure with the Orisa and open it up that way. But Simp Nation's just decided, no, we have a great hit scan player. We have a great, couple players on our DPS line. We're just going to go ahead and let them do their thing, and they have been running the game versus this tank-centric comp.
I mean, yeah, 100%. And I don't think it's exactly the wrong call to kind of put all of your cards into Redemption, because Redemption hasn't really done a bad job either. They really haven't. I think that it's one of the better calls you could make.
Yeah.
But now you've re-entered the situation where now the back is against the wall. You cannot afford to lose another map here, and while you will have your own selection, it becomes that situation of what I brought up before we even got into the series. do we stick with what we have been practicing and hoping that it's going to work out on this next and potentially final map? Or is this the opportunity where we're going to pull something out? As going over to Esperanza, this is a map where you can pull things out. This is definitely that kind of map. And for once, this is a map that we have not seen these two compete in before. Yes, still saw Simp Nation take the win on Push in their last matchup, but still, the door is open for the possibility.
Here's my fear, Hunter. Here's my fear,
though. I have a lot of fears.
I have many. I'm a millennial. I have many fears, but here's my fear in regarding to this map particularly.
Yes.
We have seen Simp Nation flex over to dive heroes.
Yes.
It's kind of been the dive-heavy angles. You have a lot of high grounds that you want to control, and we have seen Galactica run at things very quickly and very timely. And that's not as bad. That's not as great here if you can just jump out of line. So I'm with you in this regard. I want to see Galactica make a change. I want to see them bring out some sort of a dive comp or make something, because you've hit a point where the Orisa just isn't working, and the like you said, we're back against the wall. Time to throw the haymaker. Time to throw whatever we got next to us because it's time to go. And Simp Nation, whether they are just playing with their food, whether they've just kind of tightened up their comms and pulled it together, it's working. This is not the comp I would have. If someone had showed me this comp and said, this is what's going to be happening in the CGL playoffs, I'd have laughed at you. I'd have straight up laughed at you, because I would just be like, why are we playing Cassidy Venture with a Winston? What is going on here? But Simp Nation is making it work, and Galactica, thank you. I appreciate that. I love the idea. I love this. Let's put some pressure. Let's try to enable Raycone to get those picks that work so well for you in map 1. If you can keep Fatty, just not healing, and keep Lisbeth in check, you can do this. You can steal those wins. Simp Nation have shown that they're more able to peel now, but it's still your best hope of getting the win.
It 100% here, and you have that opportunity between Lisbeth and Fatty. You're gonna have a lot of good dive scenarios. We look back at the way old-fashioned dive back when it was Zen and Mercy. If you were Zenyatta, you were praying and hoping that the dive could not reach you. So kind of a similar vein right now. As we're gonna see for the time being, Galactica going to be standing on the point and gonna be a little aggressive with this jump as well, hoping to find something to counter dive coming through. And Lisbeth ends up getting pincered. A nice opportunity there. Very well executed. Mint can help with a cleanup first fight. Yeah, Mint ends up getting 3, and looks like they're going to stay alive as well. Going to clean things up. Poop going to try to stay alive. Going to dive. Going to be able to get the Mega just in time, but not going to live. And Galactica going to be able to get a lot of meteorites out of this first fight as well.
I need to talk that opening pick, because Galactica did something I was hoping they would do. They targeted Lisbeth first, which if you've been watching the numbers, Lisbeth is primarily doing most of this healing from the Life Weaver. So that's a good read. That's how you adapt. You have to figure out who's actually keeping this tank line up and going forward. And Galactica now primed from the high ground. They should be able to, again, hopefully be able to isolate this Life Weaver a little bit.
Yeah, Mint flying into a wall indeed is not going to save your life, but one person's life who is not going to save is Lisbeth, who actually gets drained down. Galactica able to clean up this next fight pretty well as well. Poop does end up getting 1 pick, unfortunately. Not going to be able to turn around the whole entire fight, and they're going to double down on trying to get rid of Mint. Unfortunately, not really going to work out, as the butt scratch already going to get unlocked. Less than 2 minutes in, Mint.
Mint has decided we are not losing this game, Hunter. Mint has decided I will make this happen, and I respect that, because I mean, it's, like you said, do or die right now. It's almost all 5 for Galactica at this point. Simp's holding on. They'll bring in the 76 now. I guess, yeah, we need a little more pressure onto Mint, considering Mint has been an absolute terror.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Right now, we're going to see a little bit of a back off as the point ended up getting flipped. Hello, guys. Yeah, might want to stop that. Redemption getting rid of Ray, but of course Pixie back over on that venture. But still, fight looking like it's going in the favor of Galactica. They do have a lot of ultimates at their disposal to use. They're going to have the Primal Rage in time, so they're going to be able to just batter away Fatty into non-existence eventually. They're still holding on to a little bit of their health, trying to see if they can stay alive, and thankfully going to be able to do so for the time being, as Fatty gets rid of Kenku earlier on, and looks like eventually finding a 2K. Going to clean things up eventually, but still 68 meters for Galactica. And all of them should get the good spawns as well. Who? Oh, no.
Oh, no. Womp womp. Well, that's fine. It just means that they'll check it back. Galactica didn't commit too much into that fight, which is good. It means they should be able to swap this over. Elizabeth headed over to the Moira. Yeah, just raw healing. Again, Lisbeth has this is kind of what's we're kind of showing the secret here now. Lisbeth has secretly been the flex support that's been carrying Simp Nation, and now we're just kind of showing those cards. So the Galactica know they need to get onto this Moira if they're going to isolate this, and they have to commit those ults.
Yeah, we do have the trade coming through, though. Pixie, though, going down is honestly the bigger pick between the two here. And it was nowhere near that, as the Coalesce is going to come through, eventually looking like it's going to clean things up. See the dive go through from Redemption, eventually going to force Elizabeth to get out. Goes top left with the rest of their team as the beat's going to come online. They're going to double down to try to win this thing right here. Forcing Kenku into a corner, but ultimately that beat going to do nothing but just take them back to the middle ground. They'll need to be able to find something to follow up on this. It's looking like it's going to be Kenku as Elizabeth going to follow up. Unfortunately, damage has already been done on the other side, and they're going to double down on this right now. And Pope is just fighting their inner demons right now, trying to get rid of Zadorak. Eventually will be able to do so. Unfortunately, going to be forced out as Ray is back on the scene, but this entire fight has done nothing but just holding on to the ground that they were trying to get back, and eventually Galactica should be able to stabilize and take this back for their own. Wow.
Redemption, please get out of there, baby. Please, baby, get out. It ain't worth it. I mean, since the swaps have come through, Simp Nation, again, maybe it's playing with their food, but Simp Nation just seems to have now they've had the time, they're adjusting, and it's coming through.
Yeah, 100% is Fatty already going to be down, so even less progress going towards that beat. And it's unfortunate now for that Coalescence being used earlier, not going to be in existence anymore. And this fight might be down to Ray. If you really want to try to win this, Zadorak going to invest the beat this time around. Man somehow ends up going down first and foremost. Lisbeth gets the pressure and eventually goes down as well. 4v4 situation. Rykon still has the pulse bomb as well, but looks like they're not gonna need it as Kenku getting aggressive on the Moira. As, I mean, Poop and Fatty have not really left each other's side, like, throughout most of this 5 minutes.
No, I mean, keeping the Winston alive and mobile is the key to most of this. And now with a attack visor plus a tech shock, like, there is a stun and a kill here, but not when Fatty just eats that pulse bomb in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. There's no ultimates online for Galactica quite yet, as they've been winning these fights for the most part, but this card really hasn't got nearly back to the point that they would have desired. See the partial dive up top where Pixie has their own ultimate ready to go. Lisbeth, though, going down once again with Mint getting traded out. Galactica looking again to take this, but again, we see the same situation where the bot not really moving a whole lot, but it's looking like eventually Galactica going to be able to clean things up as Boob going to be forced to eventually use their Primal Rage on the point, trying to get rid of Raygun, who's literally 25 health. One hit going to take them out eventually. Simp Nation investing a lot is eventually Ray's going to go over to the Reaper now.
I mean, we're trying to bully the Winston, right? We just can't let this Winston exist. And
literally.
I mean, it makes sense. I don't hate it because the fights aren't really going your way if you're Simp Nation. You're barely winning these, and Galactica is coming back and just giving you just enough of a hassle. You're still behind in mileage, Hunter. You still have so much path. You still have so much to make.
Yeah, Zadorak going to be able to stay alive, and Kenku going to help eventually get rid of Pixie. Coalesce is doing a lot for this team so far. Cleanup coming through once again. Hoping to find somebody. Not going to be able to, though. As again, Galactica another fight win. As we thought these last couple maps were weird. This map has just felt extremely weird.
Okay.
The back and forth.
I have a theory, Hunter, and I'll say it before we go to break. But I have a theory of what's going on here, and yeah. So I have a theory. I'm going to hold on to this for the end though. But the Bastion Hog, I mean, we're just full anti-dive, right? We're just full anti-dive now. Like now, because again, we're also on to Baptiste. We're just full anti-dive at this point because we know we're not winning when we get dove. We're barely squeaking these out. So, yeah, let's see how this pans out versus the Sound Barrier because that is a lot of ultimates against Simp Nation right now.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff you pull off in your ranked game once you start really losing. This is, I feel like I'm playing my comp match right now as Pixie going to get rid of Mint and Redemption. The other's going to have to be forced to really back out of here, as they're going to have to wait for that copy to be able to work with. The question is, what do you copy in this upcoming fight, legitimately?
Probably the Reaper or the Hog is my best guess. You might even take the Moira if you really want to try to get like a fast coalescence. But yeah, I mean, it's Mint. They're going to find value with whatever they get anyways. And Raycon, again, with Pulse Bomb, just trying to find any target you can. You have to get past Immortality Field. But again, with a Sound Barrier, with this Pulse Bomb, and with a duplicate, Galactica should be able to hold this. And 2 minutes on the clock. They can still live.
God, Redemption got shredded. And now Ray going to clean things up eventually. Simp Nation going to be able to cap the butt scratch here.
No
and unfortunately for Kenku,
Wow.
able to get out. And now this next fight, so Venom, this next fight could be the game, legitimately.
I don't know what to say to that, Hunter, because I do
I'm just
think
saying.
that I know you're not wrong, because now, I mean, again, Zatar is still holding on a sound barrier though. So if this fight goes long, it does favor them here, but it does not favor getting hooked immediately.
Yeah, but the beat going to come online, going to be able to keep them alive for the time being. Pixie going to be deleted though. So great start, eventually going to pull Kenku back in, and poor Kenku gonna get deleted. Zadorak gonna be the only healer left alive for their team, literally sitting on 1 health, needs to pretty much play around that corner, not be picked off. Literally, Zadorak, you're playing with demons you do not want to be playing with, as they're eventually going for the hook, going to catch onto the gold form, so not going to get anybody. As eventually Poop's gonna be able to hold on to this corner, and here comes the aggression, the spear catching on, but not gonna catch on as double super ultimate being used. Poop is not gonna go down anytime soon, trying to get rid of Redemption. Eventually the healing gonna come online from Kenku, but Zadorak going to get deleted. Redemption hoping to find something, is just getting deleted, pulled back in, needs to find people off of this, but Poop is going to get rid of them. Raycon needs to come alive to some extent. This fight still somehow going, but Poop on the Roadhog eventually gonna pay it off, and it's looking like they are going to take the lead now. Oh.
Yep, and Poop has been a tour de force on this hog. Just, I really want to see that hook hit percentage because it's very high. Well, with now the lead in hand and now the Soldier 76 back on the field, we are a high sustained Simp Nation comp. They know they need to win one more fight, and they've been tracking. There is no ultimates on board. Mint has the closest with Rails, so Mint needs to show up as the hero and cannot afford to be the first pick here.
Yeah, it's going to be whole 3 fights are going to end up really needing to kind of take this thing as eventually get forced around, and they're going to go play back in that corner where they had won the fight previously. Going to force them right there, but they're not going to have anything to really work with as Galactica coming up with this overclock. Want to use it to start things up here. Someone needs to open up this corner so that Mint is not the target number 1. They need to really open this up, trying to get rid of Fatty. They're getting caught, and Mint unfortunately going to be pulled back in. The trade coming through. 44, Galactica does have the ability to kind of play around this little corner as well, as the beat going to come online. Zadorak able to get this one off now, as there is still the ability for more investment from Galactica, who have 3 ultimates, going to send them in, don't need anything more, but are still going to invest more as well, as Ray manages to find one, needs to find a second to really get any real value off of this, and eventually looking like Galactica will be able to clean this up. Last person, Lesbeth, on the point, but that last minute stall is going to give everybody the potential to get back to the advanced spawns, so Galactica still have a lot of work in front of them.
This is at least 2 fights worth of ahead, and Pixie back on the Venture, and the Soldier 76 coming back in. Yeah, now we're just trying to go for combos and burst damage. Mint did pick up Sombra as well, so again, just speed here. This is at least a 2-fight win if Galactica wins this, and Poob is holding on to a whole hog. There's nothing really in the way to stop it, and Poob has been a menace on this hog, so this could be a huge value right here.
Yeah, eventually getting hacked away, forced around into a corner. Is still going to have some big ultimates to be able to use, but already forced away into a corner. Get taken majorly out of the fight. Ends up pulling out the whole hog, but Raycut's already going to go down. Nothing to work with, and eventually Redemption going to be pushed away into a corner. Deleted from this world! Also deleting the chances of Galactica to find themselves in the upper area of those grand finals. Going to be sent down to the lower finals as Simp Nation will be able to win and move on to the grand finals.
As foretold by the desk, it was a 3-1, so Simp Nation really giving us the match we wanted to see, and I mean, say what you will about it all, but Mint absolutely showed their worth throughout this whole series, between the Echo, between the Sojourn play. This is an incredible player on an incredible team, and you know, Simp Nation managed to kind of tame them in a lot of ways, really kept Mint just in a lock a lot of ways. When Mint was not kept in lock, Galactica looked phenomenal. They knew and they recognized what they needed to do to carry and who their non-tank carry was, so it was a great read, but Simp Nation just, I don't know, Simp Nation just decided to win, Hunter. I don't really know what to say to that. I have feelings they were maybe trying to look and maybe trying to get themselves into one of them leg day lowlight segments, but either way, I do commend it. Like, we wanted to see them adapt. We wanted to see what made this team the #1 team, right? We wanted to see them do that, and it's moments like these hog hooks. I mean, those are just great one-shot combos. It's the decisions to make to adapt this team. It's decisions. You wanted to see someone go off meta. Yeah, Simp Nation's your boys. They got him.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. Still have to give some level of credit to for Galactica. This is definitely a closer engagement that we really had last time. I think Servus is the only real situation where we kind of look at it. It's like, yeah, there felt like no real shot there as we look at the stat comparison. And God, Pooh coming away with 14.5k damage as well, getting 26 eliminations. But still, you kind of look over here, you know, at the side of Galactica, there's a lot of picks overall. Remember, they were winning a majority of that map. It was just those last couple of minutes where it was really picked up with that composition between the Roadhog, between the Bastion, the Reaper. It's just so much damage to overcome.
It is. It's a lot of burst and a lot of high sustain, but there were moments where they did. I mean, the fact that Raycon 31-4 tells you how involved they were with everything, and that's what you need from your Tracer. It just wasn't the time for the Tracer to shine. It was time for Mint to clean up, and you know, it was lower numbers, but you can see it. I mean, Mint has 10 deaths. Let's talk about this for a minute, 'cause that's the most important stat. Mint has 10 deaths. That tells me that Simp Nation knew we cannot let this player exist in the server. If we do not stop Mint from doing anything, they will carry the game. And that was the focus. You can see it. They let Raycon just kind of do whatever. They stopped paying attention to Redemption when they realized Mint is here and Mint is the threat. And that is the team, that is the read you need to have for a season-winning team.
I mean, yeah, 100%. They realized who the threat was. You go ahead and shut them down. And sometimes for a team here like Simp Nation, it is that easy to just make that decision of, okay, this person no longer gets to play the game, have fun. And
everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, it's the adaptation. I say this in a lot of retrospects, not just Overwatch, not even just esports, sports in general. Just adaptation is one of the best tools that you could possibly have here. And while, as I made the comment of, you know, this feels like I'm playing a comp game and I just saw a team full swap over. I mean, if that's what works, that's what works. We're no longer in a situation of, you know, we could test things out, you know, very heavily and do these random things here in the regular season. This was the upper finals. It's a really important game because now Galactica is going to have to win another one to have the rematch. So there's a lot of pressure back on them, but now especially this perhaps weight lifted off the back of Simp Nation, who probably feel more confident than ever before.
I think the desk was onto something. I mean, this is CGL royalty in a lot of ways. These are longtime players. This weight has never been there. They know how to play under these high-pressure situations. Yeah, their last win was like Season 7 forever ago, but you don't forget and you don't just lose that. It's like It's like riding a very wobbly bike that once had 6 wheels and now has 5. You still remember how to ride it. Maybe it just takes a minute or two to kind of get it all figured out and going. So, I mean, surely someone on the desk has got the better answer than that, because my bike analogy was just garbage. So somebody's got a better answer than that.
Well, luckily our desk have us. We're going to be able to send it over to them to break down the action here in these upper final matchup. As we, wow, I should have gone through it. So we're going to send this one over to the desk to break down all of the action for you.
I don't know about bicycle analogies, but I mean, Simp Nation certainly came out as a well-oiled machine. I mean, it didn't look so good after map 1. Y'all, like, were you at all worried that Simp Nation was going to turn this around after losing Nepal?
Do you want to start, Billy, or do you...
The troll circus was definitely in full effect here today for Simp Nation, and they got their butts handed to them on map 1. Let's be completely honest with each other here. So, I mean, look, I did not get the perfect prediction today. Y'all took the cake in that, but I still stand by Simp Nation is the team to beat, and they proved it here. They proved it by off-rolling as well. We'll just see if they can continue to roll on the same vein that they're on right now.
I mean, it's our casters kind of touched on it, and particularly in map 1, Mint was a star-studded X factor here, and a big reason Galactica won. What were your thoughts after this, Nepal, Ray?
Yeah, I mean, I was very impressed with the teamwork that Galactic showed, and we were kind of talking about that behind the scenes, where, to me, it felt like, from player to player, it felt like Simp Nation kind of had a lot of the more pop-off, more, you know, talent in a lot of places, but Galactica was making that up with just having such clinical dives and clinical rushes in. They just knew exactly what they wanted to do and executed it so well. And like, if they can stick to a plan like this, I really think they have a chance going up against Simp Nation. They really proved it with how close a lot of these maps were.
Here on Eichenwalde is where things really took a turn and started to see a little bit of a different shift, or at least started to see a bit more of Simp Nation's plan and their identity and how they were going to play this series. And it reminded me a lot of back when me and Billy would cast Chinese Overwatch, just because it seemed to be a lot more focused on tempo control and constant pressure from Eichenwalde onwards. And then we saw a real clash of styles. So you're talking about that excellent teamwork out of Galactica, where, I mean, they seemed to... were very disciplined with their ultimates, had really good combos like that we would expect from C. They seem to do really well on paper. Why didn't it work against Simp Nation, Billy?
I mean, if we harken back to, the Volkswagen Beetle of HLXC from Chinese contenders, it's all about the cycling. You don't want to give up a single meter. And that was something that we used to talk about when we were casting contenders, is that every single square meter of progress will be contested. It doesn't matter if you're going 2v5, 1v5, 3v5, it doesn't matter. You're trying to pull cooldowns, you're trying to prevent any kind of like solid snowball. That's something that Chinese contenders really taught us, and it's something that, when we watch Kenobi and Labasco, especially early Chinese contenders like 2018, that was what they were known for. They were known for crazy comps, right? And I mean, they understood why they were doing it, but maybe us in the Western audience didn't understand until we got into it and actually got a chance to learn about the players. What we learned about Simp Nation tonight is that it doesn't matter if you're on your roll tonight or not. If you can mechanically play the game, if you could understand that, okay, I got to touch here. I'm going to circle around the side. I'm going to make this non-traditional, and that's what Simp Nation thrives on, is the non-traditionality of their compositions. I mean, you talked about, we were watching the App Matrix come out, and Bastion was on the flank behind the App Matrix and completely caught everybody with their pants down, and that's why they ended up taking the lead there in Esperanza at the very end with like 45 seconds to go. That's what the Simp Nation squad does so very well. And like you said, I mean, you and I hit on it at the same time during Eichenwalde. It was the fact that it was Chinese contenders almost to a T. I got a touch. Okay, I got this cooldown coming up. Hey, this Bob is ready to go. We got a touch. We can push people around. And it almost forced Galactica into pursuing people, which forces the C9, because they could not figure out who to chase and who was going to be the next touch.
I mean, it was an excellent job from Simp Nation of keeping their opponents off balance throughout the entire match in a variety of ways. Before we get in, because we saw some wacky compositions, and I want to touch on that. We saw some Venture, we saw some Roadhog there. You saw the clips there at the end. But before we start talking about that, I want to touch on that hold on Eichenwalde, because you brought up that hold at the end of Point B. That was such a spectacular stop. And there were so many fights where it felt like Galactica should have, or, went up early in the fights. I was going to say should have won the fight. That seems harsh. That's not what I mean. But when they went up early in the fight, they had an advantage early in the fight, but they weren't able to close out the fights because of this cycling coming through from Simp Nation. And then that cycling turned into the best stall, and you talked about it, Ray, the communication. You could see the communication between how they were doing that. Elaborate more on that. It was such an amazing point you made, and I think it was so clutch to how they won this map and turned it on the whole series.
Yeah, because it really felt like Galactica was going to get that point. Poob on the ball had an incredible stall where they were just moving around on the wrecking ball, making sure they maintained point, still could get their adaptive shields out. But as soon as the communication came in, because Pixie came back on Venture, it was like, I'm coming in. He dipped, went and got the Mega on the right side, and then came back and was able to retouch it. They just kept stalling more until all their players got back. You could just tell that he got the call, like, I'm touching, you can go ahead and leave. And he did exactly that. Got the Mega, came back, and was able to keep it going.
Oh, and they stopped the car. It was like less than a meter there from Point B. It held that forever. And then we saw basically Venture for the rest of the series coming out. It led to some wacky compositions. We even saw the Reaper Bastion Hog there at the end. I mean, Billy, what was your favorite wackiness? We got a little Reinhardt today. We saw some Zarya play today. As far as compositions go, Simp Nation was all over the map. I mean, give me your favorite right off the top of your head.
Honestly, I think the Suravasa Point A was my favorite. I think that they established that Pixie can play Venture very well, understands more of the advanced tech. You and I do a lot of VOD review. We go and sit in scrims. This reminds me of Ari from Team Ireland. Oh my God. If you have never watched Ari play, very good Venture player. Hippie. Yeah. Oh my God. Team
Reese's from Team Yippee.
Yeah. Reese's Feces is the gamer tag. But if you have not watched them, go Irish Wolfhounds. Go check out their Twitch. You'll see some of that play going on. But I think that the Suravasa point A was my favorite look, and they had that coordination. They were looking to pull out the resources, especially when they pulled out the lamp, and they were able to just completely close behind. Now, the best combo of the night actually came from Galactica with the Terra Surge and the Excavation Initiation, the Venture Ultimate. Holy cow! You pull everybody in, everybody's completely and then you just pound. I mean, it's almost like a mini stun, not meteor strike. Oh gosh, hammer down. Why can I not think of it?
Can I see that face again?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Reinhardt ultimate. It's a shatter. It's an earth shatter. God, why can I not English right now? But I mean, it just does so much damage, and the AOE just spreads out, and it's there.
Oh, I thought you were referring to the Terra Surge. Yeah. No, the buff to Terra Surge as well. You get that little bit. So we've seen the Terra Surge starting to use. I mean, Redemption had a phenomenal map. We were talking about if they were able to bring this one back, I think Redemption would have been our MVP because Redemption was just doing so well in the tank. But they utilize the instant damage from the Terra Surge because there's a buff that recently came through that you get that really quick instant burst of damage, so you don't have to hold it for very long, and then they're already weakened. To tap them there with the excavation. Yeah, beautiful combo, beautiful teamwork from Galactica today. But now they have to fight up through the lower bracket. Now they have to start that training arc that we heard Soev talking about, if it's gonna happen at all. Ray, thoughts on compositions today or Galactica going through the lower bracket? Any of the above? So where's your brain at after this match? So much happened. I felt like every map was so different.
My brain is just Roadhog go burr, man. That was absolutely insane. I'm just sitting here watching it with you guys, and I'm just like, okay, Roadhog. I'm like, okay, maybe it has something against this Winston. But as soon as I saw them swap the wrists, I'm like, surely this won't keep working. You got a lot of tools to deal with a Roadhog between your Javelin and your Javelin spin. But the hooks were just so on point. We're just with some of those hooks that he was hitting. And it was just nasty work that we were getting on that Roadhog composition.
Well, I guess does that bring up our Preds? I mean, all of our Preds were on point. I feel like we haven't gotten a chance to go, yay, look at us go. So I suppose we could do that. The entire desk was right. Standby desk. That's what Hippie. What do we got? Okay. We'll do MVP. MVP is another good thing. Yes. We can talk about our match MVP. Billy, you put it up in the chat. I'll leave it to you. Who do we decide on? Where do we fall on our MVP for tonight?
Rhaenyra is going to be our MVP just because they were on their roll for the whole of the night. And also, man, the Cassidy on Eichenwalde was clutch. The space taking was clutch. The tracking was even better. And you know what? I got to give some royalty, some jewelry here. I mean, they played with Poob way back in the day. I remember them back from, scrim lobbies back in 2020, 2019, 2018, when I started first playing with Mouchies and then with Danny DeFito after that. So, man, Rhaenyra really did put on a fantastic show the entire series, and that's why they are the MVP.
Ray, any follow-up on that?
Yeah, I mean, you brought it up, while we're talking behind the scenes watching the game. There was a bob they had on Eichenwald's second point to get the touch last second and find two crucial kills. The amount of pressure they kept applying from that high ground, even in those 4v5s, we just kept seeing them up there on the high ground, just finding a kill to make it a 4v4 in an even fight. They just were. I would say they were the most consistent throughout the series. Yes, did we see some very big pop-off moments from Pixie on Saravasa and Poob on the Roadhog on Esperanza? Yeah, but I think consistency is what really took the cake in this one.
Yeah, I think Redemption kind of got the better end of Poob for maps 2 and 3, if we're being perfectly honest. The Roadhog was impressive. The stats were impressive at the end of Esperanza, no doubt. But you can't argue with the impact Renera had. It was the most flashy on Eichenwalde, particularly. Like we saw, there was a 2v5 situation where Renera goes to the top and finds that pick onto the Moira, and that just completely throws off the entire upcoming attack there from Galactica. So, but even on maps 3 and 4, I felt like Renera did such a good job of controlling Mint. And keeping the star player from the other side from really having a big impact. Really both Mint and Raikon struggled to get the most effectiveness today, and I think Renera was a big part of that for me personally. There you go. Congrats to Renera MVP. Congrats to Simp Nation for continuing their perfect run. And we'll say Galactica doubled. At least has half of the maps taken off of Simp Nation this season is courtesy of Galactica. So, I guess there's a little feather in the cap there, but still undefeated. Simp Nation will continue to move on into grand finals and await their opponents there on the top of the mountain. But that about does it for us here tonight. Big shout out once again to Kunoichi, and big congratulations to Headrammer for kicking that off and how successful and how wonderful that initiative has been. So yes, go watch that over on Twitch. Kunoichi CGL, absolutely go check that out. Billy, please, by all means, pipe in here.
Make sure that you get in there because they're Got Moxie has a team that she is coaching.
Fantastic.
I saw that.
Slips me right now. They actually got 2-0 tonight, but that's okay. She's making her coaching debut with this Calling All Heroes minor event. Also, Jeff and I not going to be here next week. You should probably be watching NECC next week because we're going to be in Dallas, baby. We're going to be in collegiate. Jeff and Billy get to meet each other, and we get to meet Ray too. Korean barbecues on the menu. Also, Hippie.
Our producer Hippie will be there as well.
Yeah.
We're going to
Tiny will be in the building. Sam will be in the building. I don't know about
everybody short.
I don't know about promoting anybody else's stream. Yeah, you and Hippie are both super tall. I don't know about promoting anybody else's stream, but we are going to be live from Sports Stadium in Arlington.
We're excited.
In Dallas. So, yeah, if you're in the area, come by and say hello. We'd love to meet you. Otherwise, by all means. It will be the first time me and Billy ever met.
Yes, that's one thing to note is FNO will be taking a week hiatus because of that. So we'll hopefully be able to start bringing you guys FNO once again the week
That's
after.
what I was trying to get to is that,
we're all going to be gone next weekend. Sorry, y'all.
Sorry.
Yeah, all of us are going to be gone.
But with that said, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Big shout out to our observers behind the scene. Who we all we had tonight? I didn't even see. Big shout out to... We had Lottie and who was team stats? Beam on stats. Meme on stats. Thank you. We appreciate all your hard work. Thank you so much. And of course, Hippie, our producer behind the scenes, feeding me the god in our ears. But love you all very much. We'll see you in 2 weeks for more Friday Night Overwatch. Have fun out there. See you soon.
Bye-bye.